Hi guys, how are you doing today? Hope you are having a sunny day. Ready for some new drama from Ask a Lawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's stepmother, who wants her kids to get half of the house, which basically belongs to OP. Listen to the story, guys, to find out all the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I've rented my dream house in Egypt for a year now. My family lives in Europe, Dad and his new wife and her kids. In August, I just got the news that the owner will sell the house and I'd have to move out. When I heard this, I was a bit stressed and talked to my dad about getting a mortgage under my name. Soon we figured out it's not possible because you have to have one property in the home country to apply for a mortgage for a house abroad. So my dad told me he would put it under his name. I would pay off through him, and once 100% paid off, he will register it under my name and it'll be mine. This sounded good, and I was over the moon that all went well. He came to Egypt with his wife, Stepmom, to help finalize and sign the contract. But shortly after, during the celebration with champagne, I figured out his wife has been deeply involved in this and only sees it as an investment for her own kids. After signing, she told me I can expect a contract with them to sign, that if I ever sell it, even after it's 100% paid off by me, she will get 50% of the profit. Also, I have no legal rights, and if I want it to be registered under my name, I'd have to pay the 50% of profit to her, to buy her out, if I decide not to sell it. I said it's not fair, as I will pay everything 100% like verbally agreed on with my dad, and she lashed out at me saying, "What did you expect? All these risks? And what about my kids? It will also be their money, not only mine. I will share the profit with them. Also, I was going to invest in another home, but now I chose this, so I expect something in return." This shocked me. She's bragging about giving her kids a part of the money when it's sold, or when I've bought her out in front of me, the person paying for it, when this was not even spoken about when my dad offered to put the mortgage under his name. I feel like I've been sold my freedom, and if something happens to my dad, she can sell the place anytime. Or if they divorce, she will have 100% ownership and can easily decide to cancel me out. I'm sick to the core, and I feel like I have no say in all of this, as it's under their name, and my dad is not brave enough to speak up to her, and his agreement for it to be registered under my name after all is paid is only a verbal agreement. She also told my dad she's thinking about making just a renting contract with me, and I'll never even own it myself, which means she'll get 100% of profit and can sell it whenever she wants. She has him under full control. When he had to work abroad, she forced him to marry her within 3 days so that if he died in the military, she would have full ownership of everything. I feel like my dad's intention was just for me to have a home, to help, and not worry anymore. But she saw an opportunity to make money off it. It was purely a business trip, and I feel so backstabbed by this family. The loss for me is big, because the apartment is bought for about 85,000 euro and expected to be worth more than 285,000 euro in the next few years due to high demand in the area. Which means if I sell it for any reason for this price, she will get about 100,000 euro of the profit, and I'll be unable to afford anything else in the area with the money that's left. Or when I buy her out to register it in my name, I'll have to pay her for the rest of my life until she gets the full 100,000 euro of market value profit back. I'm thinking of getting the rest of my family or lawyers involved and talking this through. I honestly don't know what to do, and I feel like I have no legal rights at all, and on the verge of losing my future to her. I think OP should not be paying a cent towards the mortgage. OP will pay the mortgage off and be left without anything at the end. The audacity of that woman. OP has zero rights when it comes to that house. Even now, if something happens to father, he is left with nothing. OP should not sign up for that. Or his father needs to write a will that says that OP inherits the house if something happens. But again, there's no guarantees he won't change the will. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Wondering Dev says, "You need to tell your father that you're no longer comfortable with the agreement, and he needs to create a contract with you for the original terms, or you're going to walk away, and they'll have to figure it out. Do not pay a penny until you have a contract in place that is reviewed by an attorney. If he's not willing to do it, then walk away now, because it will only get ugly, and you'll end up with nothing." OK Mycologist says, "Lawyer up. There are many issues here, including potential mortgage fraud. Keep all your bank statements and proof of payments to pay for the home. I would seriously consider reneging on this deal. Use that as leverage with your parents. Your dad is likely depending on you paying and can't carry the mortgage himself. Your family likely can't or won't help you. A lawyer's letter may be it, or court. Mayor of Kingstown says, "You've been used as a pawn in your stepmom's manipulation of your father. This is tragic and very sad for you, but you will have to walk away, unless you can procure legal means of making sure the equity is yours when the time comes. She is using you." I, 31 female, am married to James, 35 male, and we have a 3.5-year-old son together. James also has 2 children, Grace, 13 female, and Luke, 14 male, with his ex-wife, Sharon, 36 female. Sharon and James have been divorced for 12 years, and ever since, Sharon has been in a string of relationships and had 4 additional children who are ages 10 and under. She is currently married and has 3 stepchildren who are 7 and under. James has always been willing to help Sharon out if needed, so the kids can see them getting along, and so they know he always does his best for them and their mom. But now, he wants me to go a step further than he ever has, and he wants me to babysit all of Sharon's kids, since I'm a stay-at-home mom technically. But I do run my own online business and earn money, and am able to do that around everything else in my life. He said Sharon is struggling to find childcare for all the children she has, and her husband is a bit of a deadbeat. I found out after that Grace asked her dad to help out because she was worried about her mom. I told James that was too much for me. He said he would help where he could, and I wouldn't need to worry about the money side because he would take care of it. I told him that's a lot though, and honestly, too overwhelming for me. He was frustrated with me, and I told him I didn't appreciate the pressure he was putting on me. Later, Sharon calls and tells me she wants to start dropping off the kids after Christmas. I told her I hadn't agreed. She told me James had told her I would do it. She then told me that I should be willing to help out, and it would win the kids over, Grace and Luke, to me, and maybe even to my son, their half-brother. I told James he had no right to promise anything on my behalf. He told me he believed I would be on board, and he was surprised when I was against it when I never had a problem with him helping. Then he asked me to give him a reason that couldn't be helped with getting someone in to help me take care of the kids. I told him he can just pay for people then since he's so determined, but I won't be babysitting. I also told him we need marriage counseling because of this. Also, this might be meaningless, but I feel I should confess it here. Another reason I am unwilling, even if it wasn't so much hard work, is the fact Grace and Luke have never shown an interest in my son. But they're half-siblings from their mom and step-siblings from her? It's totally different. I think it's because they consider all of them, even the steps, their mom's kids. But with my son, he's mine, and not as much their dad's. They are not fond of me or their mom's husband. It's something I've been working on, but I admit, the idea of having all the kids, and as my son gets a bit older, him watching his 2 siblings treat their other siblings so much better, makes me say no anyway. Anyway, Sharon is calling me a jerk and saying I'm not thinking of my stepkids. James thinks I should have been willing to work with him to figure out a compromise. Am I the a-hole? Well, in my opinion, this is Sharon's problem, not OP's. OP's husband had absolutely no right to volunteer OP for this. I would be absolutely livid. Babysitting 7 children becomes running a daycare, but not getting paid. They are all trying to use OP. OP should not let them. And now let's hear the community's opinion. IC Department says, not the a-hole. Him volunteering you is a big problem in your marriage. Watching 7 children along with your own while working from home is not feasible in any way, shape, or form. Molly Dyer says, not the a-hole. If your husband is so concerned about it, have him take care of the kids. You're not an a-hole, you work. Just because you work from home doesn't mean you can mind a house full of kids. And even if you didn't, you're not a daycare. You're not responsible for your partner's ex's poor choices or situation. Equivalent Moose says, not the a-hole. A reasonable suggestion from your husband in this situation would be asking if your 2 stepchildren live with you, not expecting you to run a daycare for free for other people's 9 children, of which only 2 are related to your husband. Counseling would be a good idea, cause what kind of weird hold does his ex have on him that he thinks it's in any way reasonable for him to ask this of you? Both late 20s. Both have always worked full-time. Me in high-paying job, $150,000. Wife in a lower-paying job, $40,000. Finances have always been mixed, but then it was really easy. Without really trying, we'd be able to save $2 to $3K per month. Wife was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. All cured, caught early. Oncologists said she would still be able to work. Instead, she quit on the spot and made us move to the other side of the country to be near her family. Since then, wife's recovered well, and instead of doing the job she was trained to do, she's decided she wants to work 2 days a week as a librarian. And even that was on my insistence to get back into work, really. To be absolutely clear, medically she's been absolutely fine for 18 months. Our finances have taken a hit, and on top, we are now paying more on rent than we used to, and are paying private school fees for our kids. It all adds up. I've stopped buying any luxuries, but my wife refuses to adjust. She goes on overseas yoga holidays probably every 3 months. So many new clothes. I haven't bought any new clothes for myself in at least a year. She will, however, happily complain about how expensive our kids' lessons are, but then go to the shop and buy herself an expensive bottle of champagne to cheer herself up. I feel no better than an ATM to her, and I'm absolutely sick of it. When we were both working, we had equal say in our finances. Whilst I earn multiple of her salary, we both put equal effort into our work and home life. It seemed to work fine. But she's chosen to work 2 days a week and earn about £9,000 a year now, and I can't stop thinking to myself she's choosing to sponge off me instead of going out and working. This morning I had a notification from our bank saying $500 had left our account to an individual. I asked, and when she denied knowledge, I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll call the bank and tell them it was a fraudulent purchase." She then confessed that she bought herself a customized leather jacket. I said to her I was sick of her spending habits, that she didn't earn anywhere near enough to afford that kind of thing. She told me, "Well, your salary can go on the bills, and then I would have enough money to buy that jacket." I said to her I wasn't her dad, her salary wasn't her pocket money, and that I expected her to contribute her own money to our bills. I never used to have a problem with her spending when we both worked equally hard, but I'm really struggling not to be furious with her every time she makes a lavish purchase, which only my salary and my continued effort working full-time could afford. I feel that if she wants to earn less than minimum wage, then she should act like it when it comes to spending. I said this to her mother, and I was told I was being an a-hole. So, am I the a-hole? This isn't fair on OP. Either she needs to work full-time or adjust her spending. She probably needs individual therapy, and they both need couples therapy. Accomplished 2-1611 says, "Tell her she has to go into therapy. I think that her cancer diagnosis brought the inevitability of her demise to the forefront. She's overcompensating with all the things you say she is doing. She can't live like this. Good luck. Not the a-hole." Barple 101 says, "Not the a-hole. I mean, come on. I know cancer is a terrible thing. My mom has it right now, albeit caught early. But this is just taking the piss. She has to return to normality eventually. It seems like she's enjoyed a period of recovery, and maybe that time is coming to an end. You've carried the financial weight for a couple of years, and admirably so. But now it's time for a discussion around bringing her back to normality." Typical Tuesday says, "Therapy. She is living as if being on the other side of cancer is like a fantasy lottery land. And while that would be beautiful if it were true, it just isn't. Especially at your age, because if not nipped, it will be decades of frivolous spending and also not building a foundation to grow for your retirement. She replaced the fear of treatment with YOLO and has a mental latch that it's justified. Ask her to budget based on your household income and expenditures, but demand to go to therapy, or you might have to split." I, 28 female, find myself in a really tough spot and need some honest opinions on what I should do. My sister, 25 female, is getting married soon, and the entire family is ecstatic, but I am not. Her fiancé, 30 male, stole a business idea from me a few years back, and I'm seriously considering skipping the wedding because of it. Backstory: I'd been working on a unique business concept for a few years, and I told my sister about it. I thought we were close. Fast forward a bit, and lo and behold, her fiancé launches the same damn business, basically stealing my idea and profiting off it. This scheme is what is funding most of their wedding, FYI. I confronted them about it, and they played dumb, acting like it was just a coincidence, and they had no idea. I was furious, hurt, and betrayed, But for the sake of the family, I decided not to press the issue any further. Now the wedding is approaching, and my parents are pressuring me to attend after I mention to them that I want to skip it. They argue that family comes first, and I should set aside my grievances for the sake of my sister's big day. On the other hand, I feel like attending would be a slap in the face, as I feel it would signal that what they did is forgivable and that I'm okay with being walked all over. So, am I the a-hole for wanting to skip my sister's wedding over this? Should I put aside my feelings and be there for her? Or is it fair for me to take a stand against what feels like a major betrayal? I'm torn. Edit for info. A few of you really wanted to know what the business idea was. I can't go into detail, as it is pretty niche and would be easy to look up and find out a bit too much personal info on my brother-in-law. I can tell you, though, that it was an app idea. It is identical to the idea I was working on. Also, some people are defending brother-in-law by saying that I wasn't going to go through with it. I had been taking part-time entrepreneurship classes at a local college and was teaching myself how to build an app at the time. I told my sister about it and showed her what I was working on. He stole the idea before I had a chance to go through with it and sold it to his buds. Now he co-owns it. I think it's also important to note that I dabble in photography, and from conversations with my parents, it sounds like my sister wants me to photograph her wedding for her, but I have not heard anything about intended payment for photographing her wedding. So by not going, not only would I be causing a bit of drama, I'd also be leaving them without a photographer, according to my mom. I never agreed to photograph. This was apparently assumed by my sister. Florida Ing says, OP, tell your mother if family comes first, then why did your sister and her fiancé steal your business idea? It seems your sister has a unique idea on how to deal with family. Sergeant Pepper 32 says, not the a-hole. If you are 100% sure that the idea was so unique to you, and he definitely 100% copied from it, not only would I not attend the wedding, I'd completely cut the sister off for sharing your idea with him. That might be a bit extreme for some people, but I've had a similar thing happen to my girlfriend. Duca Lion 666 says, not the a-hole. Your brother-in-law isn't the only one that sucks. Your sister does as well for telling him your idea, then acting dumb when confronted. Don't go.